On this episode number 741 of Into Your Head, preempting Justin Bieber's cat story in court, why people can't do Tarzan stuff, natural wastage of Lou Reed's name, creating a new Irish culture to confuse foreigners, and lots more. Absolutely fucking fantastic. Hello. A lot to get on with today. Items that need to be attended to, issues that need to be addressed, topics. Oh, topics. We've got lots and lots of topics. We're positively booming to the seams with topics. We've got topics coming out of this box. Oh no, we don't. We don't have topics coming out of this box because I can't. There's an issue with this box. It's a fine box, plenty of stuff in it. It's full of stationery, but I can't analyse it further. Because in order to analyse it further, it would need to be not tied by a piece of string for some reason to the microphone stand over there on the frigging windowsill. It's not tied. It's just it's caught on it. There's a stone. There's a stone with a piece of rope through it. It's like a rock on a rope. It's a bit like a soap on a rope, except it's a rock on a rope and it serves no apparent purpose. And I've put that in the box and put the rope around the microphone stand. Prevents cats knocking things off the windowsill, basically. That's the general idea there, because if a cat knocked that stuff off the windowsill, especially while the window was open, couldn't get knocked out of the window and onto someone's head. You don't want your cat killing people by dropping things on their head. Or maybe you do, I don't know. Or maybe you want my cat doing that because there'll be no consequence. That's probably what you want. You don't want your cat dropping things on people's heads, but you want mine to do that. One of my cats to do that, because it'll be entertaining or titillating for you, and there won't be any consequences for you. Well, I can tell you, you can take that out of your head now. Take that off your wish list, because if that ever happens to me, you won't ever be hearing about it. I won't be telling you the story, so you won't get any enjoyment out of it whatsoever. You'll ever hear. Maybe it's happened already, and I haven't told you. Has that occurred to you? Probably hasn't. Well, it has now, except you probably thought, no, that's ridiculous. You wouldn't have brought it up if that was the case, even as an if this happened story. Well, you're right about that. Anyway, hello and welcome to the show. Hello. This is a prelude to the following segment. The following segment, I've just realised after making it, begins with me saying that two dogs, I don't want to spoil the story, but two dogs do something, and then at some point it changes to cats. I said dogs by mistake. The story is about cats, so if anywhere where you hear dogs in this story, just replace it in your mind with cats. You go, he didn't say dogs, he said cats. We'll give him the full credit of that he was talking about cats, so we've no excuse to go, we don't understand this story. No, it's all been explained. Unlike in a proper story in a book. In a proper story in a book, they'd put this down as a footnote down the bottom, and you get through the whole page before you see the footnote. No, I'm telling you in advance, so it's no problem at all, no inconvenience to you. Nobody's put out in any way. Nobody's had several minutes of their podcast listening ruined by something that's causing confusion. Nobody's thinking, oh, this fella cares so little about me, the listener, that he can't be arsed to correct whatever mistake he's made there, which I don't even understand because he hasn't explained it yet. Oh no, there'll be none of that, and most importantly, there'll be no blame to allocate to anyone. Nobody's to blame. The only situation in which there will be any blame allocated here now is if you still fail to understand the story after me explaining it here, and in that case the blame will be allocated to you firmly and squarely, fairly and squarely and firmly, be feet on the feet planted firmly on the ground with completely flat soles on them, so there's no space whatsoever between the shoes and the ground. No room for manoeuvre. Firmly, square and fairly allocated. That's what the blame will be. So this has been a footnote to the following. Remember, where it says dogs, say think cats. Think cats. You should be thinking cats all the time anyway. There's no point in thinking dogs. If you think a dog, it'll just come up and lick you in the face and get in your way. No, think cats. Think cats. Just like the Pink Panther says, think pink. For this episode of Into Your Head, the phrase to remember is think cats. There you go. There's the phrase for you. Get that? This is a bit like when they have those, they've all sorts of advertisements on the television over here for directory inquiries phone lines, and they have someone singing the number, so you'll remember us to go 11 8 11 11 8 11. And then for the rest of the day, you have it in your head, 11 8 11 11 8 11. That's how you get someone to remember something. So remember from this footnote, remember, think cats. Anytime you hear dogs, think cats. So let's put it to song. Think cats. Think cats. Thinky, thinky, thinky cat. It doesn't have to be the finest musical composition ever made. It just has to get stuck in your head just for about the next 11 minutes while you're listening to the following segment. Anyway, here it is. Two dogs walk up to a cliff. One of the dogs goes straight up to the cliff edge and says, "Hello, can I have a pint of your finest, dropping a stone on a person far below on the road? Experiences, please." And the man behind the cliff says, "Oh, I'm sorry, this doesn't work like a bar. You can't just come up and order an experience. And for another thing, even if that could happen, and even if I was the person who could make it happen for you, I'd turn you down, because I'm down here trying to climb up the cliff, or maybe I'm climbing down. Is that more realistic? Maybe I'm doing that thing where you climb down a cliff on a rope. What's that called? I forget what it's called. There's a name for it. There's people who like climbing down cliffs on ropes rather than climbing up them, or maybe they do both. Maybe I'm climbing down this, but no, even if I were able to give you that experience of dropping a rock from that cliff down to someone below, I wouldn't facilitate it for you, because that would put me in danger. Unless you've got some way, as a tiny little half-pound weight cat, are you going to be able to push a stone out far enough from the cliff so that it doesn't hit me, it goes out over me? I don't think so. I doubt it very much. It's not to say that I have no faith in cats. I have a lot of faith in cats. I know there's a lot of things they can do, but I'm pretty sure the damn Christ they can't do this. And even if I was sure, I wouldn't take the chance. I'm not that much of a risk taker. Now, I know that's hard to believe. It's a bit hard to take while I'm up here on a rope on the cliff. But get over it. It's not Mount Kilimanjaro. It's basically just a tall wall. But still, no, I'm not having rocks dropped over my head, over my dead body. He'll do that, and then I can tell you. You probably get arrested, because it'd look highly suspicious if my dead body was swinging here and you dropped a rock over me. Even if you hadn't caused my death, it would look highly suspicious. I can tell you, you'd be going down. The jury wouldn't listen to a word you'd said, except the bad stuff, and they'd send you straight down into the bowels of hell, or else prison. The government doesn't have its own hell, so it has to have prison instead. It's an artificial hell. They don't have the power to send you physically to the real hell, if there is one. We don't know. Haven't even confirmed that yet. At least that's the one thing about prison that we know. We know it definitely exists. We don't know about hell. It's just their faith. People have faith in hell. Imagine having faith in. That's like saying, I have faith in child molesters and fires that kill people. No, don't have faith in bad things. If you're going to have faith in things, have faith in good things, for Christ's sake. And the cat up on the cliff says, "Oh," and the man says, "Well, that shut you up, didn't it?" And the cat says, "It did indeed. I have to hand it to Are you not out of breath now? You're climbing up a cliff and you've been talking for the last nearly 3 minutes now. Are you not out of breath? And the man on the cliff says, I am not. I'm a very healthy man. I look after my health and fitness. Fitness and health, that's what it's all about. If you don't have your health and fitness, then you have nothing. Well, except maybe a couple of million euros in the bank. Well, that's not the same thing. You can't add one to the other. You can't go, I have €1 million worth of health, which isn't as much as I'd like, but I also have 2 million cash in the bank, so I can add that to it. So my net worth in terms of health and money put together is 3. No, it doesn't work like that. Doesn't work like that, I can tell you. And the cat says, I don't care about money. I'm not here to learn about money. Means nothing to me. I'm a cat. I'm a cat up on a cliff. Experience and life means everything to me. Money means nothing. What's that song? Money don't matter tonight. It's a Prince. It sure didn't matter yesterday. Just when you think you've got more than enough. Something. And the man on the cliff says, that's very impressive. A cat who can't play the harmonica. Admittedly, technically, it would be more impressive if the cat could play the harmonica. But no, a cat who can give it a try and blow into it. I think that's impressive. A lot of cynical people would say that cat isn't playing the harmonica properly at all. It's just blowing randomly into it. But no, those are glass half empty people. I'm a glass half full person. In fact, I think the glass is full. It's half full of liquid and the other half is filled with oxygen and carbon dioxide, like whatever's in the air around it. And unless you've got some sort of a lid on the glass and there's a vacuum there or something, in which case it's half full of vacuum, which I suppose technically doesn't count at all. That would be pushing the positivity thing a bit much, but no. Anyway, back to you, cat on a cliff. You say something now. I've dominated this story. this conversation. You say something now, because I want to have a rest anyway. And the cat says, this doesn't feel like a rest. All that's done is that you've handed the narrative from the man on the cliff to the cat. It's still the same person saying all this. It's still me speaking into a microphone. This isn't a rest at all. It's just a switch from one character to the other. It's fucking ridiculous. And the cat says, this feels a bit weird. I don't feel myself at the moment. I feel like I'm someone miles away in a real parallel universe somewhere, as opposed to this imaginary one, and he's telling this like it's a story. Maybe that's what the world is. Maybe the world is just someone telling a story about us somewhere. A bit like on the hologram, the holographic. What's it called? The holographic deck on the Starship Enterprise on the Star Trek: The Next Generation, which itself is just a fictional thing. So it's a fiction within a fiction. Isn't it fantastic? And the man on the cliff says, "We're right, this isn't much of a rest at all. I haven't said anything for about a minute, but I still feel winded. Maybe we should end the segment and have a little piss break or something." And the cat says, "Well, we could do that, but you know damn well that once you end the segment, you can't get back into it again, especially one of these story type ones. You'll have to find something else to get on to. No, you want to keep this going for a good 10 minutes, and then you'll feel satisfaction that you've got over a third of the episode done. You feel like you've made some progress, because you haven't made a podcast in a few days now. You've been starting to panic, thinking, you haven't made a podcast in a few days. If you don't get a couple done before the weekend, you're sure as hell not going to get them done on Saturday. You're sure as hell not going to get them done on Saturday. Why not, you may ask? Well, because I'll be hungover. That's why. I'll be hungover, like a cat hung over a cliff who's watching a man on a rope, looking down on the man on the rope, and the man on the rope is looking up at the cat and straining his neck, and the cat is looking down. He's not straining his neck at all, because he's a cat. He knows how to move. Cats are expert in movement and flexibility and where to put your body when you want to do stuff. People aren't. People are not expert. Well, they are experts in a way, but in another way they're not. You can be an expert in something and still not be able to do it. That's what us humans are. We're experts in everything. We're great experts in we have wildlife all figured out. We figured out why a tiger scratches his head and then goes and looks at a monkey up a tree and then makes noises and then goes and joins a herd and all that stuff. We make TV programs about it. But if you were to ask one of us to go and climb up a tree and mate with a monkey and join a tiger herd and do all that other stuff, we wouldn't be able to do it. We wouldn't be able to do it. We'd just be able to go on about it. We go on and on and on and on and on. And some of us are able to make TV programs in which we go on and on and on and on and on. But no, in real life, out there in the real world, would you be able to do jungle stuff that the jungle creatures do? You would not. You would not. You wouldn't be able to do Tarzan stuff even, and you're a human being. You can't even do human being stuff that Tarzan does. You could not. So get down off your high horse and get up on your pedal. No, I didn't. Why would you be? No, all that stuff, that's got nothing to do with you being on a high horse. That's ridiculous. Don't know why I said. Anyway, hello, and on with the show. Hello.
IntoYourHead.com. Support the podcastual arts at no cost to you. Just click through the Amazon link at IntoYourHead.com whenever you go shopping for anything, even if you use Amazon UK or Canada. We'll take your weird foreign money here. We're not proud. Just visit IntoYourHead.com and click on the appropriate Amazon banner.
If you would like to comment on any of the issues raised in this program, email studio@IntoYourHead.com. Remember, we value the opinions of you, the humble and ignorant listener.
Matchstick cats. Matchstick cats. Matchstick cats. Matchstick cats and stuff.
Are you a cat? Or do you know somebody who might be? Then tell yourself about Matchstick Cats, Neal's webcomic. Brand new episodes at IntoYourHead.com.
Matchstick cats and stuff. IntoYourHead.com.
I've always been a great believer in the dictum, reap what you sow. Reap what I know I've mentioned this before. Well, that's because I'm consistent. When I say I believe in something, I continue to believe in it. I don't just believe in it in that exact moment. No. That's not to say I can't change my mind about this at some point in the future. But no, if I'm going to say I believe in something, I need to believe in it for more than a nanosecond. Because then, if that's not the case, then you should be saying I am believing in this right now. You don't believe on an ongoing basis, just right now, this second. Well, not that there's anything wrong with that. You may say, I'm going to take it as read just for 1 second for the purposes of some experiment or something, that you reap what you sow, something. You reap what? That's a Lou Reed song. The late great dead Lou Reed of the Velvet Underground. Lou Reed of the Velvet Underground, and latterly Lou Reed of Lou Reed fame. Lou Reed of the Lou Reed Singularity solo artist, formerly of the Velvet Underground, and in more recent years known simply as Lou Reed, because that's his name. That's his name. Don't wear it out. Well, I suppose you can wear it out now. It doesn't matter if you wear his name out now because he's dead. He's not going to need it anymore. He'll be remembered for many decades to come. But there's going to come a time, I presume, with these pop stars. We've only had pop music for about 50 years. There's going to come a time when most of these pop stars are forgotten. They're not like Beethoven, where they're going to be remembered thousands of years later. Oh no, 100 years from now, if you go up to some kid in the street and you say, what do you think about Lou Reed? And they'll say, is that some sort of slang for reading in the toilet? Because I know English people like to call it the loo. Some Irish people as well. If an Irish person says it, the proper response is to go up to them and slap them in the face and say, stop trying to sound foreign. You're not foreign. Say toilet or jacks. Don't say loo. No more than you'd say bathroom, because that's American. The kids over here now, they all think they're American because they have televisions. They start talking in American slang. Stop talking. There's nothing wrong with American slang, but you're Irish. Talking Irish slang. Say bigorra and stuff. If you must talking slang, say things like bigorra, stuff that the Americans think we say, but we don't say that, and that'll confuse everyone. Not only will it confuse everyone, it'll create a modern young people's culture, because all the culture we learn about at the moment, I understand why kids don't want to be into it, because it's all old Irish traditional culture. No, have a modern culture based on cynicism, where you make fun of foreigners who think we say bigorra and stuff, and we start going around saying bigorra. That should be the new fashion. If there's any young Irish people listening to this, which there probably isn't, my audience base is mostly middle-aged foreigners, middle-aged men and women of all shapes and sizes, but mostly of about the same age. They're all old. You're all old. No offence, nothing wrong with being old. That's not a criticism in any way. I'm quite old myself. How old am I now? How old am I? I'm 38. That's how old I am. But these kids make 38 look like 342, because some of these kids, Justin Bieber, for example, he's only about 12 or 19 or something, and he goes around driving cars. I've never driven a car in my life. Well, maybe once. I think I had a couple of driving lessons at one point when I was about 20. But no, apart from that, no. But Justin Bieber, he gets in a car and he goes allegedly drag racing, and then he goes allegedly doing drugs, and then he goes allegedly doing other stuff, and then he goes up to the judge and he says, "Hello, what am I accused of?" And the judge says, "I'll come to that in a minute. You don't ask the questions here. We have a set format for these courts that has been in vogue for thousands of centuries. You don't have to come in here and start rewriting it. You don't even write your own songs, do you? I don't know whether you do. I haven't researched. I presume you don't. I've been careful not to do any research about you, because I'm the judge in your case, and I don't want to muddy the waters by finding out facts from the outside world. Anyway, well, hello and welcome to my court. Where was I? I don't know where I was. I was somewhere, and then the barrister will come up and say, "Hello, judge," and the judge will say, "Hello, barrister, are you not a judge yet?" And the barrister will say, "No, I'm afraid you got the promotion this time. Congratulations, though. Well done. You deserve it. If anyone deserves it, it's you." Well, clearly that's what the interview panel thought anyway. Do they have an interview panel for judges? Oh no, they have an interview panel for potential judges. There's no point interviewing them once you put them in place as a judge. You interview them before that. And the judge says, "That's fine, but I feel like we're wasting time here, and we're well paid for this. We're paid by the nanoseconds, so let's not waste any more time and people's money than we need." And Justin Bieber will say, "That's a good idea. I'm against wasting time too. That's why I've lived my whole life. By the time I'm 19, I'm going to write my autobiography next year, and then my life will be over. Well, hopefully not over. Hopefully I'll still be alive, but my life, I'll have lived a full life. So if I were to die tomorrow, I could die happily knowing I've achieved everything that a normal person achieves by the age they're 65. I've achieved it at 19 and a half. And the judge will say, "That's great. Good for you. Thank you for that, Mr. Bieber. Thank you very, very, very much, Mr. Eastwood, stroke Bieber. Thank you very, very..." I don't know why that song always comes into my head. It's one of those songs that I don't think you foreigners even know about. So no, let's leave that behind. And the barrister will say, "I didn't know you were a foreigner." And Justin Bieber says, "Yes, I'm a Canadian, but I think you meant the judge." And the judge will say, "Yes, he meant me, but I think the stuff about the foreigner was just the narrator saying stuff on his own behalf. He wasn't saying that I'm saying it." And the barrister says, "Oh, that's I understand now. By the way, if anyone says dog here, they mean cat, just for future reference." And the judge will say, "Why don't you just say cat then?" And the barrister will say, "What would be the point of that? If we put a thing in place, we gone to great lengths to put a thing in place, stating that anyone who says dogs, it's to be heard as cats. Or why add extra confusion by telling people now that we're just going to say cat when we mean cat? And the judge will say, that's true. That's very true. It's very true. Well, it's just true. Something's either true or not true. It's not very true or partially true. No. It's either true or not true. It's ones and zeros in the world of truth, I can tell you. And I should know because I'm a judge. And the barrister will say, you do know indeed, Judge, and a fine judge you are. Now, will you let Justin Bieber hear off? He didn't mean any harm. And the judge will say, well, we'll find out what the judge will say when this happens, because it hasn't happened yet. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Anyway, on with the show.
Follow Neal at twitter.com/intoyourheadpod and pretend to like him at facebook.com/intoyourheadpodcast.
Now, I know what you're thinking there. You're thinking this episode is very Justin Bieber cat legalistic nonsense marketing tricks Lou Reed's name centric. Well, you'd be largely right about that. But what's wrong with that? It's not illegal to talk about Justin Bieber or any of those other things I've talked about. It's well within the law. I know what you're thinking there. You're thinking, what's he, a legal expert now? Well, I did study accountancy for several years, and as part of studying accountancy, they give you a full business rounding, and as part of that, you learn a bit of law. You learn a bit about the law, so I know a bit about the law. Do you know a bit about the law? You probably don't. Maybe a percentage of you do, but what percentage? That's the issue. It's all very well saying a percentage of you do, but that could be anything between 0.00001% and 99.99999 recurring percent. It could be anywhere in there, so try and be a little more accurate. There's such a thing as being too vague. If you're going to be vague about everything, you might as well just, stuff. You might as well stuff. You might as well do stuff and things. See, that's what being vague causes. It causes you to not know what I'm talking about. So let's not get into that habit. Be accurate. Be as accurate as a fucking, I don't know, whoever makes the chips in your computer. Look at the chips in your computer. Those have tiny little fine lines that are drawn by a robot that's inside the tip of a thin needle, and they're able to, it's because of all that accuracy and precision they're able to put so much on your computer chip. Now, admittedly, they make these computer chips the size of your fingernail. There's no need to. You could just as easily make that the size of a book, and it'll still fit inside a computer case. They're obsessed with making things small in the computer industry. No, there's more to life than being small. There's more to life. There's being big. Being big is a thing too. You can be big, and things can be big, or you can be average size. Although, of course, in the computer industry, a small chip is average size by definition. But no, you can influence the average size by making bigger stuff. Of course, you'd have to make it much bigger than, if you want to make the average size 5, and the current average is size 1, then you would need to make stuff that's size 10. So by definition, the stuff that you make would be far bigger than the average, and that's just to get the average up to the middle. But still, you can't make an omelette without breaking eggs. Remember that. Anyway, good morning.
You've been listening to Neal tell you stories. About cats, probably. Neal talks a lot about cats. Send your topic suggestions to studio@intoyourhead.com.